I'm so sorry. I did not know y'all could not hear me. Ain't that something? And now I hear it all in my ears. Hold on, y'all. I'm so sorry. I was just sitting here running my mouth. Lord. Sorry, Instagram. Give me a second. Okay. How do I turn this down like this? There we go. I'm so glad you said something, Gail, because nobody else said anything. Thank you so much for saying something. Jeez, Louise. Okay. I was really like running my damn mouth too. Okay. Let me make sure everybody else can hear me. Mm. Okay. Now we're ready. Whew, child the ghetto. Okay. So, for those of you who did not hear me, what's up? My name is Markia. I'm known on social media as the Money Plug. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant. And I use my platform to teach you guys everything that I know about credit repair, credit building, and things like that. And so it's today I was talking about I posted a video yesterday that have been getting a lot of kind of playback when talking about the United States Department of Education said that they're going to forgive $415 million in student loans. And somebody commented this morning, well, last night, saying, hey, well, I had my student loans forgiven, like they're gone, but my credit went down, and is that normal? And I realized that a lot of people don't understand the significance of their student loans. It is a lot more valuable than your regular accounts that you have on your credit profile. And it's really important that you guys understand that, so that you understand what's going to happen when your student loans are forgiven or paid off, and so that you understand what happens in the event that you want to remove your student loans. Because I know a lot of people want to do that just based off of like on-time payment history. Hey, girl, it's good to see you too. So when it comes to having your student loans forgiven, how it will reflect on your credit report is as if it's paid off. It's not like it's just going to erase the whole thing. Now, student loan erasure and student loan forgiveness is two different things. And but they there's a difference in removing an account and the effect it has on your credit, and paying something off and leaving it there and the effect that it has on your credit. That's also very important for you to understand. So for most of you, your student loans is the oldest account that you have, right? This is the account that you've had since you were 18, late 20s, mid 20s, early 30s. So you've had this account for years and years and years, even though you weren't paying on it, right? It was reporting to your credit as, for years and years and years. So that on-time payment history, that credit age, all of the things that's used to calculate your score, your student loans are kind of intertwined in that. And so when it's no longer reporting every month, just like any other account, your score is going to go down. When you close a credit card, when you pay your house off, when you pay a car off, all of these things, while dope because you don't owe any money anymore, affects your credit because you also don't have this account reporting every month. Now, you'll keep the history associated with the account if you don't remove it from your credit. However, just know that even with that history reporting, there's going to be a fluctuation in your score. Now, how much your score is going to change depends on you. This is where I come in, right? I tell you guys all the time about building outside of certain things, right? So yeah, you have student loans, and then you'd be like, well, this is the only debt I want. I don't trust credit cards. I bought my car cash, and I get it. I do. But you need these things reporting to your credit profile if you are going to have a credit score. And your credit score controls a lot more than wanting to buy a house, a lot more than wanting to buy a car or get a loan. It controls for a lot of people where you live, because without a solid credit score, you're not getting into these fancy high-rise apartments that's all over TikTok. It affects what kind of job you can have, because civil servants and uncertain positions like in the military and, tech jobs and banks, they look at your credit to see if you're a reliable person. So when you don't have a credit score generating, or if you don't have a strong profile, let's say you have like one or two things that can make you look very suspect. So I get the point of not wanting to owe people, but you need to build outside of your student loans, because when they are paid off, right? God, I swear to God, I wish Joe Biden could just go and pay all that shit off right now. Like, when that happens, then what? A lot of people don't look past that and don't understand that you have to. You have to have things outside of your student loans reporting. You need credit cards. The baseline credit profile, this is the example that I always give you guys. A baseline credit profile, a good credit profile, has at least 3 credit cards, 1 short-term loan, and 1 long-term loan reporting at all times. When we're talking about loans, a long-term loan is your student loans. So your student loans, your mortgages, your cars, things that you're going to be paying on for more than 24 months, that's considered a long-term loan. Now, let's say you pay your student loans off and you're not willing to get another long-term loan. What can you do? You can always add another short-term loan, which is a loan that you're paying off within 24 months or less. Or you can add another credit card. But these are things that you need reporting in order for them to see that you're trustworthy. You stick to your agreements, you pay your bills, that sort of thing. So that's an example that I give my clients, and it works, right? So on average, right, when it comes to, for example, how your credit score is calculated, right, they say that 5 inquiries is really the max that you should get in a 12-month time period. And so usually when I talk to people, they have like a 1-year time frame. So like that's why I suggest those 5 accounts, the 3 credit cards, the short-term loan, and the long-term loan. That way, even if you open all 5 of those in 1 year, you're still not going over that requirement. That's why I specifically chose that number of accounts. Let me answer some questions. Charge-off keeps coming back validated, but no proof of contract, nothing. What should I do? The biggest thing when it comes to your charge-off coming back validated that you'll have to understand is that you're going up against the original creditor when it's a charge-off, which means that they're going to have that stuff on file 9 times out of 10. So if it comes back validated, you need to decide, okay, so now how am I going to build around that? A lot of people get really hung up on the idea of removing every single derogatory account from their credit. And you're not thinking, well, what's going to happen if that doesn't happen for me? I'm a hope for the best, but prepare for the worst kind of person. So in the event that your charge off is just not coming off, or it's validated and there's nothing you can do about it, maybe you paid it, maybe you didn't, you can always build around it. If you surround a negative item with enough positive items, you can hide it, right? The conceal concept, right? So it's all about burying that negative reporting history in positive reporting history. On-time payments, you should have no more missed payments after that account was considered charged off. And then you also want to be very careful. This is also why I tell you guys, don't be just mass disputing, because that what can happen is if you mass dispute, right, and this account comes back as validated, likely what has happened is that the date of last activity has updated. When you update the date of last activity, you have reset the statute of limitations in most states, and now you're going to end up extending how long companies have to sue you. So, you really want to be careful with that. All right, let's see what other questions. Hey, what's up, Will? Why does Equifax take so long to remove items? Ugh. Listen, if I had that answer, I'd be a millionaire, I swear. I started building when Navy Fed and got approved for a credit line and stopped letting it hold me back. Yes. You're so welcome. Why is this? Oh, duh. I don't know how I was clicking on the wrong stuff. Whew. But what other questions you guys got for me today? I really just wanted to touch on the student loan thing because everybody wants their student loans forgiven, but nobody really knows what's going to happen after that to their credit. How can an account report as past due and charged off? Just because an account is charged off doesn't mean that it's not past due. The account is charged off because you are past due. So you still have a past due amount. Now, the only time that will change is if that charged off account is now sold to a debt collector. Then what happens with the charge off is your past due balance needs to update to 0 and your balance needs to update to 0. But the charge off will remain on your credit. And that is because when a creditor reports to your credit report, they have a duty to report the history associated with that account. So all of the history associated with your account, including the fact that it was charged off, is still allowed to report once it's sold to collections. Now, once it's sold to collections, that amount that was reflected in the original debt needs to reflect with collections. This is why I tell you guys that you should always know what's reporting on your credit at all times and what it's for, yada, 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 because if they try to change the amount that you owe once it's in collections, a lot of times you can get them on an FDCPA violation because it's illegal for a collection company to charge you interest and things like that. What can I do if I have a Oh, 1 second. Can you explain DOLA versus date of last delinquency? I always get confused. Okay, so there's two dates that you really need to know when it comes to these debts on your credit profile, right? There's the date of first delinquency and the date of last activity. Now, the date of first delinquency is also known as the date of last payment if the account is paid off. That is what is used to determine your reporting time. So how long a debt stays on your credit profile. A lot of times people be like, well, this account is 7 years old, not understanding that it's going to go based off of the last payment or the first missed payment that led to the charge off and not when you opened the account, right? So the only time the date of first delinquency can change, so like the life of an account on your credit profile can extend, is if you finally make a payment. So let's say you have a charge off, it's been charged off for 5 years, and then you finally make a payment to settle. Now you've reset the date of first delinquency to the date of last payment, and now it's going to extend for 7 years past the date of last payment. Now, and that also applies to collections, right? If you have a collection and you pay it, now it's going to report for 7 years from that date of last payment. This is why we tell you guys to negotiate a pay to delete when you guys are working on paying your collections. Now, the date of last activity is how long a company has to sue you. So how long do they have to take you to court for a debt that you owe? And this goes for creditors or debt collectors, right? The time is still the same, and that's determined by whatever state you live in at the time when you signed the contract. So for my military people, if you were stationed up in Maryland and you bought a car and then you moved to Alaska and the car is repossessed, the statute of limitations for Maryland would apply, not Alaska. I'm not sure if the time is the same. I'm just saying. What can I do if I have a collection company filing a lawsuit against me? Go to court. Now, if you cannot settle prior to the court date, if you reach out to the company and you guys cannot come to an understanding, show up to court. A lot of times these companies only win because the defendant never shows up in court, or they show up and they're unprepared. So the biggest thing you need to understand is everything you would say in these letters, everything you say in dispute letters, this is why you need to understand it, because when you go to court, you can literally say those things to the judge. And a lot of times I've seen people go up against these companies and win. Why can I see collections removed from one bureau but not the other? So when one bureau removes something from your credit report, the other bureaus are not obligated to do so. That is a decision that they have to make based on their parameters for validity. So if they think that it's a valid debt, if TransUnion thinks it's a valid debt and Equifax does not, then Equifax is going to throw it out and then TransUnion is going to keep it. You see what I'm saying? What if the balance doesn't update to zero? Then you take all the proof that you have. You take whatever. So usually whenever a debt collector buys a debt, they have 5 days to send you a letter notifying you that they purchased the debt, blah, blah, blah. You can take that letter and a current credit report, you take both of those and send it to the credit bureaus like, look, this debt was sold to a collection company, but this company is still reporting a balance. They need to update or remove it. If you plan on disputing it because you want it off and it's not the truth, don't even tell them what's wrong. You need to force a debt verification. Sorry, the airplanes. I don't know if y'all can hear that. You need to force a debt verification. And then when they go to the credit bureaus and say, yes, it's meant to report this way, when you know it's reporting inaccurate, you can use that to claim willful noncompliance and have it removed. What if a settlement was made? Will the account fall off when it... Oh, I'm sorry. I got to scroll back up. I skipped some. Third-party reporters learned about something website today. Can you do a live for just third parties? It's just too many, honestly. There's no point in doing a live. Like third party, that's where a lot of people think that every single creditor reports to all three bureaus, and that's not true. For example, the U.S. court that handles bankruptcies cannot directly report to the credit bureaus. What they do is they report things for public record, and then these third-party reporting agencies go find all this information that's available in the public domain, and they pick and choose what they want to report to Equifax and Experian and TransUnion, but they keep all of it on file. For those of you who are interested in seeing what these third-party agencies are saying to you, saying about you, request one. You get one free copy from each credit bureau, not just the big three. I'm talking LexisNexis, Innovis, Clue Auto. You are obligated. You are obligated to have one free credit report a year from each credit reporting agency. What if a settlement was made? Will the account fall off when it's supposed to? Not necessarily. So if you didn't already, how do I say this? Remember, when you make a payment, that resets the date of first delinquency. So now instead of being delinquent, you made a payment. So it's the date of last payment. So it's going to go 7 years from when you settled that debt. I had a collection company change the balance by $1 back and forth going on 6 months now. Yeah, because they have to prove it. They have to prove, how did you increase for $1? Where did that dollar come from? And it better have came from the original creditor, or you violated the FDCPA, and I'm gonna sue you for the amount that you trying to say that I owe. You're doing great. Thank you for all this info. You're so welcome. Hi, I've been getting calls about student loan forgiveness. How do I know it's the real deal? Okay. The biggest thing is that you guys reach out to your I don't know why the quality is like that, but not on Riverside. Ain't that something? Um the biggest thing is that you guys reach out to your loan holders and you talk to them. Ask them, what way of communication will you be reaching out to me if I qualify for student loan forgiveness or any of those programs? You need to know your lender and know how they would reach out to you. If you want to make it primarily email, you also have that option. You just need to contact your loan holder and say, hey, I would like to keep all communications between us via email. But the only way you'll know is if it's true or not is if you call your company. So if you get a call about student loan forgiveness and you know who owns your loans, you call them and say, hey, I just got a call about student loan forgiveness. Is this something that you guys are offering? Plain and simple. Girl, you got these laws down packed. I can't wait to get like that. Still learning. It's practice. It's all about practice. You know, I'm literally surrounded by this stuff every day. So it's like you see something enough times, it kind of like sticks. I don't know if it's my phone or the area I'm in, but it keeps freezing up. My stream isn't freezing up. Is my TikTok freezing up for anybody else? Somebody let me know in the comments, please. All right, all right. Oh, snap. Illinois is 10 years. Yeah, there's a couple states. There's a couple states who have okay, somebody said it's not doing it. There's a couple states who have a lot, like a long statute of limitations. Rhode Island, thanks, Will. Rhode Island has 10 years for their statute of limitations, but states like Texas have 4 years. And Texas is one of those states that's really dope because they have a law that protects you against zombie debt. So when a debt expires, right, when they can no longer take you to court. So like I said, the reporting time is 7 years for like a charged off credit card in the state of Texas. So the statute of limitations is 4 years, but it reports for 7. So after 4 years, the company can't sue you, but they can still report. So if you do not dispute it or if you don't dispute it or reset the statute of limitations at all, while the debt is still valid, once the debt expires and they can't take you to court anymore in the state of Texas, even if you dispute it after the fact, they cannot update the statute of limitations. You cannot go back to court for that. So it's really important that you guys know your state laws because a lot of people who from Texas didn't know that. And it's just Texas right now. So be careful if you live somewhere else. Best thing to do is sleep. Do I have to be unemployed to ask for student loan forgiveness? Sorry if you answered this already. So I'm not a student loan expert. I do not know what the criteria is for student loan forgiveness. I just report it as it is reported to me when it's happening. Is there a book you recommend to read up on this? Like credit laws? There's a couple different ones. I think I just took mine down to the car. So if you go to ftc.gov, so Foxtrot Tango Charlie Golf Oscar Victor, they have a plethora of educational literature like brochures, booklets, pamphlets, and they offer something called the FCRA and the FDCPA in like little books that like books you can actually hold. That's where I get all of my information from because I get it straight from the source. I don't want to hear a third party. I don't want to hear someone's interpretation of the law. I want to hear the law directly from the people who wrote it. I've seen people factually disputing round one. Wouldn't that strategy be bad if you end up having to go to court? It's really situational. The main, like the foundation of how I dispute is factual disputing. You can factual dispute without exposing what you're doing right in the beginning. So like what I mean by that is like when you playing cards, right? You do not have to you don't got to show your hand, right? As soon as you start playing, you do not have to do that. When you are factual disputing, you start off unassuming. You start off very soft, very generic, you got to give very much. I just pulled my credit and don't know what I'm looking at. You do not have to tell these people up front exactly what you are disputing. For me, I don't expose my hand until like rounds 3, 4, 5, depending on how much time I have with my client. Because if you tell them, let me tell you something. A lot of people think when you dispute something, they're supposed to remove it, but that's not what the law says. The Fair Credit Reporting Act states that when a consumer initiates a dispute, the credit bureaus is legally obligated to remove the account from reporting because it is considered an unvalidated debt now. If the debt has never previously been validated, they cannot report it if the validation is in question. So they will stop reporting that account. Not to say that it's going to be removed forever. This is why I tell people, don't get too excited with your round one. So when it's called a soft removal. So when they remove the account and they investigate, when you investigate an account, they have either a duty to update or a duty to delete. Now, if you tell them exactly what's wrong, do you think these people are not going to sit there and change exactly that since you gave them everything that they need to fix it? Don't expose your hand too early. I keep telling everybody credit repair is a long game. This is not something short. This is not something that you could do today and be done tomorrow. This is why these fly-by-night credit repair specialists aren't lasting long. The whole results in 30 days and da-da-da-da. This is why I tell you guys, if you know the laws and you know how the system works and how the system operates on the back end, those people won't even finesse you the way that they've been finessing y'all. You'll be able to scroll right past that content because you know it's a lie. You know it's a scam. You know they don't know what they're talking about. Even if you hire someone to do your credit repair, you need to be educating yourself. What is the Virginia statute for a judgment? Judgments are 7 years. But see, with judgments are a little bit different. They have to meet a very specific criteria in order for them to report in the first place. Say again. Oh, the website to get all the credit education literature, right? This is the stuff, and this is stuff that I use for my workshops when I do pop-up shops and I'm just passing out information. It's ftc.gov. It stands for the Federal Trade Commission. So ftc.gov. All right. Checking all the questions. I got mine. Took a long time, but it was free 99. Okay. Let me tell y'all something. It took, and I had ordered so much. I had an event. I'll never forget this. This was last year. It's my very first in-person event. It was down in North Carolina. Shout out to Raleigh. It was in North Carolina. It was the Buy Black Business event. There was this huge expo. And so I ordered a ton of stuff. And when I tell y'all, I couldn't even lift that box. I know my UPS man was mad as hell at me that day. But all of it was free. I didn't even have to pay for shipping. I'm telling you, and I'm about to start. I told myself I was going to order once every 2 quarters. And I still got a ton of stuff sitting in my garage. I know my husband's tired of me. But I be just giving it out. Does getting a credit card help your credit? Yes. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of owing somebody money. I really think that credit cards got a bad rap and it's not their fault, right? And it's very similar to guns, right? So I am a gun enthusiast, right? I'm very pro-gun. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. If you put a gun, sorry, Instagram. Let me plug my phone up. Sorry. If you put a gun on the table, the gun isn't going to kill anybody. But if you put a gun in the hands of people who don't know what they're doing, why is my phone doing that? Hold on. What is going on? I don't know what happened with Instagram. Hold on. Cancel. Hold on, y'all. My phone is acting crazy. I'm going to have to end the live on Instagram. There we go. Ooh, that was weird. It was giving me a headache. There we go. So if you put a gun on the table, a gun is not going to inherently kill somebody, right? If you put a gun in the hands of the wrong person, then it's very dangerous. And it's the same thing with a credit card. If you do not understand credit card safety, right? If you don't understand how a credit card works, how you're supposed to pay it off, how interest works, if you don't understand those basic concepts, then a credit card in your hands is very, very dangerous. I am super pro credit cards. Credit cards are very important to a credit profile because credit cards control by themselves over 65% of your credit score. That's a huge amount of points, right? And that's just credit cards by themselves. Now imagine a credit card paired with a loan, because you bought a car, or your student loans that's reporting on time every month because your payments are deferred, right? Like, credit cards are very valuable. So I highly suggest you all educate yourselves and then get a credit card. I disputed an AT&T bill and the collection agency, and they set the clock again for 7 years. That is because the debt was likely validated. So the only thing that can update the date, well, first of all, when you send in a debt validation, what you're asking them for is to prove the validity of this debt, to send you everything that they have proven that not only a debt is owed, but that you are the party that owes the debt, right? And so when you do that, that's considered new activity on an account, correct? Because now the account has activity because they just sent you all the proof that you personally requested. So if the account comes back as valid, you have now reset the statute of limitations by resetting the date of last activity. So now they have longer to sue you. If you choose then to make a payment, then that resets the reporting time for 7 years. That resets the reporting time another 7 years. Yeah, I said that right. If you do not make a payment, your reporting time is still the same. If I send a debt validation to a collection service, can they still report the debt to my credit? So initiate a dispute while they are investigating, the account cannot report. Once the investigation is complete, if it is found to be a valid debt, then they can continue reporting the account. When is your next workshop? And is the workshop for people who want to repair their own or help people? So normally when I do my workshops, they're for people who want to fix their credit by themselves. I have not given a workshop to people who want to learn how to do what I do. I have not put together a course or anything like that. Y'all keep asking me too. Y'all keep asking me. That might be something I have to kind of work on this year, I guess, because everybody's been asking me about it. I did do this thing, so you know what? This might be a good time to talk about it. So I did do this thing last year. It was called the T on having a credit repair business. And so it was a fee, but it was literally set up to be just like a regular Zoom call with just as many people as possible who were interested in starting a business. Hey, Jerica. Who were interested in starting a business, and then I took the money and donated it to the 22 a Day Foundation. So that might be something that I do again next month. Y'all know next month is my month of service, so I'm super excited. And I'm super excited because next month is the month of service. It is my birthday. It's my husband's birthday, and it's also credit literacy month. Woo! So I'm super excited. Let's see. Especially on TikTok, they be feeding on that people don't know and want instant graphic. So here's the tea on why these fly-by-night credit repair specialists get popular really, really quick on TikTok, right? The people who are on here milli rocking and telling you that you don't have to pay back your student loans and repossessions and things like that to get them taken off your credit report. The reason why these people are so prevalent and are able to scam so many people is because you guys are desperate. And when you are desperate, common sense ain't common. And so when they say things like when they say things that you want to hear, right? Things, my mom always used to accuse me of having selective hearing growing up. And it's funny because now as a parent, I see it. So, when you hear somebody say you don't have to pay that, you don't want to pay it. So you can be like, what? I don't. Tell me more. Like, you get what I'm saying? That is why people fall so hard for those videos and those comments and those posts on social media, because you low-key don't want to pay it. And so if somebody telling you they got a way to get it off without you having to pay, you're going to run with it because that's what you want to do. Growth is not comfortable. If growth was comfortable, everybody would be growing, everybody would be elevating, and that's not the case. Growth will make you uncomfortable. Growth will hurt your pockets. Growth will hurt your heart. You're supposed to learn something. But if you're not learning the lesson, right? If you're not fixing the problem that got you to having bad credit in the first place, what's going to end up happening is, they'll get it taken off. And then the consequence of that action is going to come back and bite you in the ass and have you right back where you started. This is why it's very important for you guys to educate yourself. Even if you're going to hire somebody, you got to stop expecting to just throw money at the problem and thinking that it's just going to make itself disappear. You guys need to be educating yourselves on the things that's happening in the background so that so that people can't scam you, so that you're not falling prey to the tricks and the hacks and the whoop-de-whoops. You get what I'm saying? So that's my 2 cents on that, on why those people get so popular on social media so quickly. Pay collections before disputing. So let's talk about that. Oh, hey girl. Let's talk about that for a second. So I always ask people up front, are you willing to pay it? Right? As soon as somebody tell me, I don't want to work with you because I want to get this collection removed, are you willing to pay it? How much are you willing to pay? Those are the first two questions that you need to ask yourself when you're looking at a collection on your credit report. And the reason why is a lot of times you can get it removed without having to dispute and having to do the back and forth. There are companies who, in their policies, it is outlined that upon the complete payment of the debt owed, they will remove the account from your credit report. And there are companies where you can negotiate that with them. Hey, in exchange for the money that you're saying that I owe you, can you take this off my credit report? Now, if they say they can't do that, they're not willing to do that, then you can force a debt validation. And then if they reject your pay to delete and they validate the debt, then that proves that the debt belongs to you and all that other stuff. You might as well go and pay it and get it out the way. Like, I exhaust every other strategy, right? And then I'll go ahead and pay it if I have to. But I always offer a pay to delete first. Then if they don't want to agree to that, I'll force a debt validation, which is the dispute process everybody is so familiar with. And then if that doesn't work either, then I'll go ahead and pay it and then focus primarily on rebuilding. Again, you guys think dispute automatically means remove. You have to hope for the best and plan for the worst. So if this account does not come off, what are my options? Right? Right. Dang, I got to jump off for work. Are you going to save this? Yeah, it's going to be saved. So for those of you who are watching, if you got here late, if you don't normally see any of my content, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant, and I use my platform to teach you guys what I know. All of my lives are saved. Right now, I'm live on like a couple of different platforms, and I'm also making clips to post on TikTok a little bit later. But if you're watching me on TikTok, this will also be saved on my YouTube channel, which is WWTMPD. What would the money plug do? It is also streaming live currently on Facebook. If you go like my Facebook page, The Money Plug, you'll see me. And Instagram. This probably won't be saved because Instagram be playing with my feelings, but you guys can catch it on those other platforms as well. How long do I have to wait to start a new round one? Meaning if I don't dispute charge-offs the first round, can I send that in 30 days? How long do I need to wait? So typically what I tell people, if you are breaking down your dispute process, so let's say you're attacking all of your collections first, and then your charge-offs, and then this and then that, you don't have to, if you're handling it all separately, you don't have to wait. So you can send off your disputes for the collections, and then you can send off your disputes for the charge-offs, and then you can send off your goodwill letters for the late payments, because these are all separate things. You get what I'm saying? So should we pay it even if they don't pay to delete? Okay, so let's talk about that, right? This is a preference question. So if they're not willing to delete it upon payment and they've completely validated the account, and so you know for a fact it's not coming off, even if you do pay it, what do you do? This is a preference question. Some people are looking to make a major purchase, and so the amount that they owe is counting against them, right? So even if they pay it and it stays, the amount that they owed is what was getting them denied. Remember, things that don't affect your score can still affect your credit profile. With collections, you don't lose points based on how much you owe. You lose points based on the fact that you owe a debt collector, right? So that's why even if you pay, your score kind of stays the same. Now, if your lender is telling you that you need to pay this in order to get approved for what they want, then you're going to pay it, right? But if you're not looking to make a major purchase, you're not looking to apply for anything no time soon, and you genuinely don't want to pay it, don't pay it. But you have to be willing to accept the consequences that come with that decision. So if you don't pay it and then they decide to take you to court because you are still within your statute of limitations, then you're going to go to court. And because it was already validated outside of court, they can take that proof to court and force a wage garnishment or, some kind of payment plan, or they'll want you to pay a lump sum right then and there. So that's a preference question, but you really need to look at the pros and cons of that before you answer that. Board certified through which company? The CCA, so the Credit Consultants Association. I'm a member as well as certified through them. I have my FDCPA, my FCRA, my credit score consultant, and my credit repair certifications. And I got them all through that company. They also have a business credit certification coming out that I've already paid for. I'm super excited for that to come out. So for those of you who want to get into the credit repair space, you might want to look into that. Now, listen, being board certified is not a requirement for any of these states. It's not a requirement. You can literally wake up one day and start your business and not have not one certification, not one. And that's fine. I got my certifications for me. This was my way to set myself apart, to show people that I have demonstrated that I know what I'm talking about, right? And I mean, it comes across in my knowledge, right? When I'm talking to you guys and I'm telling you the laws and I'm answering your questions, it comes through that the training that I've had, the exams that I've taken, the certifications that I have are legit because I know what I'm talking about. So if you are interested in being a credit repair specialist, I do recommend you take these trainings because it just in the event that you don't know everything, right? Everybody wants to fix credit, right? But there's a million ways to skin a cat. And so if you took a class and that class didn't really provide any value for you, you may find value in the learning information that they give you prior to you taking the exam and the different exams. So that's another thing. In the event that you don't know everything that you think I know, these trainings will give you access at the very least to that information. And you don't have to memorize it, right? As long as you know where to find it. So that's another thing. A lot of people be like, I'm not as eloquent as you. I can't just remember stuff like that. You don't have to, as long as you know where to find it. How long do late payments affect your credit after you're caught back up? Forever. For the life of that account. So if you have a loan and you paid your loan off, but you was late 2 years ago, that late payment low key is going to be on your credit until the account falls off. Because remember, they have a duty to report the entire history of an account. So that history is going to be sitting on your credit profile. Now, the older and older it gets, the less and less weight it holds. So I wouldn't stress myself out too much, but as long as you're making on-time payments and, since then, as long as you haven't had any issues since then, trust me, somebody will be willing to look past that. This is also a good time to mention redeterminations, right? A lot of people get denied for things on the first look. And so, they think that that's it, whatever, I'm done. Listen, they already charged you for that inquiry. So make them earn that inquiry. You find out if they have something known as a redetermination line or a redetermination apartment. And what that means is they go back and take a closer look at your credit profile as a whole and not just your score to see whether or not, maybe your points didn't make the mark, but your profile is strong and healthy and is reminiscent of all the other people that they have on their profile. And since they already charged you the inquiry, it's not an extra look, it's just a closer look. And a lot of people get approved. So this is why I tell you guys, don't just hyper focus on your score. Make sure you have a healthy credit profile as well. Which credit monitoring do you prefer to use? So, me personally, I have Smart Credit and my FICO. Those are my favorites. The reason why I have two, right, is because there's two credit scoring models. There's the FICO and Vantage. And even though FICO has 1,000, me having my FICO gives me access to those, right? And then I like Smart Credit because I've been a victim of identity theft. And so with Smart Credit, they offer all kinds of protections against, they got like dark web monitoring and identity protection and blah, 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 blah. So I use Smart Credit for all of those features, as well as to give me my 3 bureau reports side by side to make it easier for me to look at, more aesthetically pleasing, right? So that I'm not spending all day combing through my papers and shit like that. But I personally use those two. I think it's like My Score Now is a good one. A lot of people are okay with just Experian, and that works for them. See which one works for you. Which one are you comfortable with? Which one do you know how to use? Which one has way too many features and you just don't want to do all that? If a student loan has been transferred to the government, can you get the info for the school taken off? Okay, so you want... LaSonia, tell me if I'm saying it right. So your student loan was with your school, they transferred it to the government, and now you want all the history associated with the school taken off. Because honestly, yeah, you can. But here's the thing with that. The only way you'll be able to get that taken off is if you can identify an inaccuracy, an error, or a violation of the FCRA in the way that it's reporting. A lot of people, what they'll try to do is they'll try to force a debt validation by asking them to provide a copy of the promissory note, because if it's transferred, that means you no longer owe the original people, right? So because you don't owe them no more, a lot of people, they don't pay attention to the paperwork they have on file. So there's no point in them keeping the promissory note because technically the loan is paid. The promissory note is what ties you to your student loans. This is you acknowledging that you know the consequences of not paying your student loan and you go and make these payments, et cetera, et cetera. So if they can't provide that you can't validate that debt. You can't say in good faith that I am the one who owe this money. And so, if you petition that company for the promissory note, then what can happen is if they don't provide it, they have to remove it. And that's what a lot of people do to remove their student loans. They'll do a student loan consolidation or a refinance or something like that, to close the old account, erase the old account, and then just build with this new student loan account. A lot of people do that. Pay off card with late payments to dispute and remove address tied to card to get it removed from credit report. I have no idea what you're asking me right now. What? Pay off card with late payments to dispute and remove address tied to card to get it removed from. I'm so confused on what you're trying to tell me. Yeah, I had identity IQ is about to be cut. LOL, I'm going to switch. Only shows last 2 years of payment history. Because that's what's the most, I mean, the last 2 years has the most effect. So, for example, I know a lot of you have been hearing things about FICO 10T. FICO 10T, your regular FICO score is just like a screenshot of your current health, your current status of your credit health, right? Whereas with FICO 10T, they're going to be looking at think of it like a TikTok, like Instagram, right? Instead of just the one pictures, you see everybody posting reels now. So this is going to be a reels of your credit health. And for the most part, the last 24 months is going to be vital to determining your credit worthiness. Even though they still report the other stuff, I mean, shit, if you really want to see it, you can always petition the company. But most credit monitoring agencies only going to show you the last 2 years up front. What are good options for student loan refinancing? I do not give that kind of advice because I'm not a student loan expert. I deal with personal credit and how student loans can affect that. But I always, always, always tell you to do your research, right? Get out and ask questions. In these forums, they have a lot of programs that you can sign up for. If you have federal student loans, they have a legit, if you go on my YouTube channel, WWTMPD, there's a video that I did on how to remove student loans from your credit report. In the comments, there's a link that you can click that talks about consolidating or refinancing your student loans and some resources for you. I knew I had something. I've heard of people taking old addresses off your credit report to get negative items removed. Yes, but that's not like, just because I take the address off my account does not mean it's going to get removed. I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have. Just because you remove all your old addresses and stuff, that by itself is not going to get the account taken off. You still need to identify some errors or something in the way that it's reporting, or force them to do a debt validation. When you force them to do a debt validation, it makes it harder for them to validate that debt because they don't have that basic information. So like, what I mean by that is they try to validate your information by using anything. If your name matches, if the name on the account matches the name on your credit report, if the address on the account matches the address on your credit report, if the social on the account matches the social on the credit report, if they have a contract that you signed with the original creditor saying that you owe this money, and they'll compare all the information in that contract to the information reporting on your credit report. So yes, updating your personal information can help, but you still have to tie it into something to get it removed, because just removing that stuff, if they have the contract, then they don't need to look at this stuff, right? Because they got your signature proving that it's you. This is your address. This is your driver's license number. This is your social security number, right? But it can help. It'll make it harder. And a lot of debt, especially if it's in a debt collection company, the original creditor, that's not going to be enough. But with a debt collection company, what's going to happen is they're not going to want to put in all that work. So a lot of times they'll just resell the debt and be like, well, fuck it, y'all do it. So updating your personal information is not by itself is not enough to get something removed, but it is vital in getting something removed. How many things do they need to make a debt validated? I mean, to be technical, they only need one. But you got to think about it like this, right? Just because somebody's name is Brittany Thomas does not mean I'm the Brittany Thomas that owes this money. So yes, you've proven that Brittany Thomas owes this money, but you never said it was me. I'm not Brittany Thomas, by the way. Or yes, Brittany Thomas who lived at this address probably owes you money, but you have not verified that I am the Brittany Thomas who lives at this address. That's like, all of these things kind of work together. All of these things provide like a piece to the puzzle. For the bigger picture. So if you make it harder to find some of these pieces, then they can't complete the puzzle and the whole thing gets thrown in the trash. I be trying so hard with these like metaphors and similes and shit. I swear. Let's see. Alrighty, making sure everybody's questions getting answered. All right, what other questions y'all got for me? And for those of you who came late to the live or you don't usually see my content, welcome. My name is Marquia. I'm known as the Money Plug here on social media. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant. The lives are always streamed on multiple platforms. So if you're on TikTok or Instagram and it won't be saved on either of those platforms, you can always go to my YouTube channel at WWTMPD. What would the Money Plug do? Or you can go to, this is not on Twitch right now, but I do have some of my videos on Twitch, twitch.tv/THEE Money Plug. So they definitely have to have the signature with the contract. Here's the thing. Legally, the FCRA does not say that they have to have that to validate the debt, right? But that is the only smoking gun, right? A lot of times when somebody kills somebody, if they don't have the body or the gun, then you can't say it was me that did it. That's the smoking gun. That contract is a smoking gun with your fucking fingerprint on it. So if they don't have that, not to say they can't validate the debt using something else, but it's very, very hard. The charges won't stick. How do we respond to the stall letter from TransUnion? Man, I had a client get one of those, and she was like, "What I send you all this stuff for if you didn't send it?" And I was so confused, but. So apparently TransUnion has been sending everybody these stall letters pretty much saying like, yo, this letter seems like it came from a third-party agency and you ain't send us no power of attorney, so we not responding to this shit until we know that you gave us permission to do so. Or, hey, even though you sent copies of your driver's license and everything else, we still not sure it's you, so you gonna have to send us something else. And then they will list exactly what you sent them. These are known as stall tactics, stall letters. And it's pretty much just to buy them extra time, because now you have 45 business days to respond to them. And that gives them even more time, because then when you send that stuff in, now they process your dispute from that point and they get 45 business days to respond from that. This is a very common tactic. And it's also scary because it makes people feel as though that, why aren't you responding to third-party agencies? Are you saying that third-party agencies are not allowed to dispute? Are you saying that credit repair is illegal? Like, what is this? And the confusion is what they're capitalizing on. It is completely legal for you to have a credit repair specialist fix your credit. Even in the state of Georgia, credit repair is legal. Now in Georgia, who fixes your credit for a profit? That's what y'all need to be paying attention to when it comes to that law. Because in the state of Georgia specifically, you have to be a lawyer, a real estate broker, or a nonprofit organization to provide for-profit credit repair. So that's the key. But, they're scaring people by making them think that credit repair specialists aren't supposed to be the one that send the letters in. And that's not true. Nowhere in the FCRA does it state that you cannot have a credit repair company fix your credit. There's something known as the Credit Repair Organizations Act that even outlines how credit repair companies can help you and what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. So I just think it's so crazy, these letters that they've been sending out. But the best way to respond to these letters, give them the information that they're looking for. That's the easiest way to do it. Going back and forth with them about something so trivial is cutting into your dispute time, right? So just give them whatever it is they're asking for. If they're telling you to send in more identification verification documents, just do it. The bureaus. I requested a promissory they sent for the wrong loan. What basis do I have to delete now? Just because they accidentally sent you the wrong loan does not mean that there's grounds for a dispute, but you can use that in your fight. So save that. And then I call it the "that's not what the fuck I asked for" letter in my Facebook group. And so what you'll do is you'll send them a letter like, "Hey, thanks for responding, but this is not what I asked you for. I asked you for a copy of the promissory note for this loan, and you did not provide me the promissory note for this loan. And because you did not provide me the promissory note for this loan, proving that I am the party who owes this debt, you must now remove this account from reporting to my credit report, or I will file a CFPB complaint against you." That's going to cause two things, right? They're either going to, "Oh shit, we sent you the wrong one. Here's the information you requested," which they have a duty to update if it's possible. So that's possible, right? Or they're going to remove it because they don't fucking have it. Ooh, I only said the F word like twice. I'm doing good, y'all. I've been working on it. What other questions you guys got for me today? While it's a nice day outside. So my kids are out there. I can recover in peace. Did anybody get the COVID? Go and tell me it was you and you one of my followers that I talk to regularly, because I'm gonna fight you. Because nobody told me that the booster was gonna have me feeling like this, y'all. Yesterday I couldn't even get off the floor of my office. That's how down bad it had me. And none of my other shots did that. Today it's the migraine that's killing me. And my head feel like I stopped on my hose up and it blew my head up like on the cartoon. But man, it's taking me out. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Somebody was like, "You're doing awesome. Thank you." Another question that I've gotten recently. That's so funny. I was just about to talk about it. So another question that I've been getting recently is, how do I negotiate settlements or pay to deletes, right? Like, what's the magic words? And the honest answer is there is no magic words. The problem is a lot of y'all don't know what negotiating mean, right? So oh, you know what? I'll talk about that next, Triple OG. When it comes to negotiating a pay to delete, I always start off at 20% because I know they're going to counter offer. Whatever they counter offer with, if I don't feel like it's a good enough deal, then I'm going to counter offer. And we're going to keep going back and forth until one of us is like, look, fuck it. We're not going to agree. So fuck you. You're not getting this money. Okay. That's kind of how that works. If they tell you no one time, you can't just give up. That's not a negotiation. Do we have to send a separate personal dispute letter to fix our personal section, or can we send with first round? Send it separate. Send it separate. Because you want that disputed first. So, and a lot, I be having to explain this to a lot of my clients. I'm definitely going to refine my process, like, and how I explain this, but your personal information update needs to happen before they start processing your disputes, because when they update your personal information and remove some of the account history, some of the addresses and stuff like that, then you do a debt validation, they can't find the stuff, right? You want to make sure that you give that the opportunity to happen. Oh, something's in my locks. I can't wait. I'm getting an apple cider vinegar rinse next month. Okay. Can you explain due date and statement date? Let's talk about that for a second, right? So what they're referring to is your credit card. And on your credit card, there's two dates that you need to know: your statement date and your due date. The statement date is when they go and talk to the bureaus about you. So they'll say, hey, yo, just so you know, this person is using 70% of their available credit, or this person is using 30% of their available credit. That is what the statement date is. And so then they will draw up your bill like, hey, this billing cycle, you used X amount of money. Your payment is due on this date. And then that is the last day that you have to make a payment before technically the company may charge you a late fee, right? That is what a statement date is and a due date. You always want to pay your balance down before your statement date. That way, when they go to report to the credit bureaus about you, right, they're going to report low utilization. After your statement date, so before your payment due date, right, that's when you'll pay the rest of your card off if you don't want to pay interest. So what do you suggest for 95% on-time payments, 1% usage, 1 collection? Just keep paying on time. That's not telling me enough. I hate when people try to be putting, y'all try to put y'all details in these TikTok comments, knowing TikTok is going to restrict your character usage. But that's not enough information for me to give you advice on your account. For that, I would need to see, how are these items reporting? What are these items reporting? Are there any comments? Like, I need to see the intricacies of your report to give you the most personalized advice. I can give you generalized advice, which is you're going to want to get your payment history up to 100%. And you're going to want to get rid of the collection, and you're going to want to consistently build. How old is your credit? What is your average age of credit history? Because you need roughly 5 years before your credit is considered mature. So I don't know if you can answer this, but my car dealership told me my car was repo, but the finance company said it wasn't. And on my credit, it shows as a charge off, not a repo. I'm not sure if there's anything I should do or can do. So are they saying that you owe? I guess that's the biggest thing, because if you don't owe shit, I wouldn't touch it. A repossession. So technically a repossession is a charge off, right? It's a charged off account. It's just that they took back ownership of the vehicle. So I mean, it's still a charge off. It's just that they took back ownership of the vehicle. And so technically, I guess without it being a repo, it don't look as bad. I don't know. But either way is a charge off. A charge off is a charge off, no matter what kind of name it has. So it's still going to be negative on your credit report. Now, you could try to dispute it because nobody knows what happened to the car, and that's a part of the dispute process. So you could dispute it to see if you can get it removed. But with repossessions, I always tell people to be extremely careful and practice discernment, because this is the most sued debt, right? This is the most sought after debt in court. Is repossessions. Once you piss these people off and make it seem like you're not going to pay them by disputing, a lot of times they'll just take you to court and get their money. For charge-offs, should we request the 1099-C before requesting the deletion? They don't have to. So the law is very clear about when they have to provide the 1099-C. They have before a specific date to send the 1099-C. So, you can try to make that a stipulation, and if they agree, they agree. If they don't agree, it's not nothing you can do about it. No, the balance is showing $0. Girl, then I wouldn't mess with it. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's you don't have to take every single thing off your credit report. I wouldn't mess with it. But what I'm cool with on my credit is not what you cool with on your credit. So that's another thing. Practice discernment with advice that you get out of here. If you want everything taken off, take everything off, girl. Go for it. When you're doing your factual dispute, do you have a strategy or hierarchy of what you'll dispute first? I see people attacking DOLA first whenever that's appearing inaccurate. So, yes and no. So, when I'm looking at my clients and I'm talking to them, I try to get a good idea of what they're trying to accomplish first, before I start looking at the intricacies on their credit reports, right? And start categorizing these disputes. What I mean by that is, if they're on a shorter time period, right? A shorter time crunch, like they're trying to do something in X amount of months, what I'll try to do is dispute the items that I know won't take as long to have removed or updated, right? Those are the things that I'm going to work on first, because if I can get those off and then focus all this extra time on just the harder accounts, that the boost in their credit score that they'll see will help them, get whatever it is they qualify for, even if these things don't come off. So that's how I do it. I do it in order of what is the easiest to get taken off right now. That's kind of how I strategize what to dispute first. Should you pay off before disputing? I guess that's a preference question. So, I was talking about it a little while ago. Jesus. I was talking about it a little while ago, but I said that when I'm going around with, when I'm disputing collections, I'll ask my client, are you willing to pay? If they're willing to pay, then we'll do a pay to delete negotiation first. If they're not willing to agree, then we force a debt validation. If we force a debt validation and they validate the debt and this is a valid debt and I gotta fucking pay it, then I'm gonna go ahead and settle it. Now, at that point, because the company has already made it clear that they're not going to remove it, I could pay it, wait a little while, and then see if I can dispute it off because of how it's reporting. But a lot of times you can't, because the payment kind of classifies as a validation, right? And so you validated the debt before you paid it, right? You proved that it was a valid debt. That was why you paid it in their minds. So it's going to be kind of harder to get it removed after the fact. You also, I always tell my clients, you don't lose points for asking questions. So you can always ask the company to remove it. And sometimes they'll comply. And sometimes they won't. That is also their prerogative. So everything is situational. I forgot I got that today. Anybody ever play Being Boozled? Anybody ever play this? Me and my kids are playing this today and I can't wait. I just want y'all to know, right? I paid a lot of money for this Sony ZV-1 and I have not figured out how to fix my video resolution for YouTube. Because, I get on YouTube and it's giving very much dial-up. It's giving very much, girl, wipe your camera off. And I don't know why. Question, is Capital One card a good card for rebuilding, and how many cards should I get? So here's the thing about this. I hate when y'all ask me questions about credit cards because y'all never like my answer. So when it comes to credit cards, right? When it comes to credit cards, always start with your home bank, right? They're your home bank for a reason. And they already have a relationship with you. So you always want to see what they can offer you first. Now, when it comes to picking additional credit cards to have on your profile, I always tell you to sit first and think of what your goals are. What are some cards you see yourself having for the future? What are some banks that you really want to establish a good relationship with now, so that in the future, when you're ready to pursue your entrepreneurial endeavors or buy your home or buy your car, you already have that established connection with them? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself. You also got to ask yourself, do you want cash rewards, right? You want cash back? Do you want points for something? Do you want miles? Like, you got to figure out what kind of perks person are you, right? What's the perks? What kind of perks are you looking for in a long-term relationship with a credit card? Now, when you have bad credit and you're rebuilding, right? That's a little bit different because you can't be as picky with your choices, right? So you kind of get what you can get so that you can establish that history on your credit profile and then qualify for these other cards. But always sit down and establish your boundaries first, right? This is what I want. This is what I don't want. I don't want cards with an annual fee. I don't want cards with an interest rate of this, right? Just make sure you're being reasonable, right? Shout out to Versed because my skin looks so moisturized and I don't have nothing on but moisturizer. It looks so. He said my credit is trash. I'm not, my credit is trash. I can't. So if your credit is trash, right, friend? The kind of cards you want to look into, maybe a Capital One secured card, maybe the Indigo card, Credit One, Open Sky, Self is a good one, Chime, Extra. Those are cards for people with below average credit, right? That you typically qualify for. Now, these cards do not have to be long term. I personally think that the only card I'll end up keeping long term is my Self card, just because it's sentimental, right? But but I love my Self card because it's so cute and it's blue. But anyway, these are cards that can help you get to that next level, right? These are cards that you can use to generate enough on-time payment history, as well as transactional history and things like that, to get you to that next level. Listen, Navy Federal will give anybody anything. I always tell people, do not mess up your relationship with that. I got the Self Builder loan, but hasn't really done anything in terms of boosting my score. But I guess it's still good to help my credit profile because I didn't have a short-term installment. A lot of people think that as soon as you get Self, right, your score is supposed to jump up, and that's not the case. This is also why I tell you guys to practice discernment, because listen to what I'm about to tell you. Your credit profile don't look like mine, don't look like hers, don't look like his. So what helped me might not help you, but it could help you, but won't help you. You see what I'm saying? So like you said, so you didn't have a short-term loan installment. So now you have one and you're paying it on time and things like that. You're building that on-time payment history as well as aiding in your average age of credit, right? Whereas, some people might not have a loan at all. They might not have any accounts. And so when they got the Self, it shot their score up because, oh shit, you are responsible, right? So it really just depends. The effect it will have overall on your credit profile, definitely on your credit score, really depends on what's already reporting. But for your credit profile, stuff like that is very, very good. Now, remember, your credit profile determines your score, but there are certain things that can happen on your profile that won't affect your score, but is still conducive to a healthy credit report, right? And remember, when you do these redeterminations and things like that, that stuff key. I have all of those besides Self. What would you do with student loans? Pay them or wait and do a lump sum? You want me to be honest? I pay that shit every month. I would never pay off my student loans. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is now, unfortunately, I was never blessed with the emotional or mental capacity to actually want to pursue college like all the way through. And I joined the Army really early on. So even if I do decide I want to go and take that shit seriously, I don't have to pay for it. But if I could have had student loans, I'd have had it and just got on an income-based repayment plan, right? Because that student loan, a lot of times those accounts are the oldest accounts that y'all got. Y'all got those when y'all was 18. And so all that age, all those, deferments technically look as on-time payments because you're not required to make a payment, so you never missed a payment, right? Like, you got to think about it like that. All that on-time payment history. And if I'm on an income-based repayment plan, shit, my payments could be as low as $16 a month, depending on what I'm bringing in. So the on-time payments, I could be paying extra, you know what I'm saying? And building up my credit profile. That could really set a solid foundation for the right person if they're not derogatory. So I personally, if I had the choice, I would just make my monthly payments on my student loans. Because remember, once you pay those off, your score's going to go down. So the longer you take to pay that shit off, the more of a plus it is for you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not naive to the fact that some people would just like to free up that extra money. And so if you have the ability to pay it all the way off, do so. But make your payments in the meantime. How long do we have to keep those starter cards? I've gotten all 5 or 6 of them in the last 2 years. For as long as you feel as though it's beneficial to your credit profile. Once these cards aren't serving you a purpose anymore, once you start qualifying for better cards, close them out. I always used to tell people, like, let's say you got 3 credit cards, right? You got Open Sky, First Premier, and Indigo. But now you qualify for unsecured Capital One, unsecured Discover, and a Navy Federal Cash Rewards. Every time I open up a new card, I'm going to close one. Every time I open up a new card, I'm going to close one. Every time I open up a new card, I'm going to close one. I did not mean to put my middle finger up. That helped. That happened unexpectedly. But you see my point. So every time I open up a new card, close one. That's how that works. And remember, you should only have credit cards that you're actively using. Those people who get on here and be having them giant stacks of credit cards like this, I'll be looking at them like, you a fucking idiot. Because a credit card is only valuable to you as long as you use it. And you'll have those people, I never use my credit cards and blah, blah, blah. But most companies are closing out accounts, especially because of the pandemic, and they're trying to mitigate their losses, right? Most companies are closing out accounts if you have inactivity for like a year or 2 years or 3 years, right? Because it's providing them no value. This is not a mutually beneficial relationship. This is only benefiting you, and that's not fair. They're a business. They want to make money, right? So, making sure you're actually using these cards. Not to mention, especially if you're rebuilding, using these cards and that account, that's a huge bonus for these businesses because they're like, this person actually uses our products. I'm going to get them a bigger credit limit, see what they do with that. Because I might can make some more money off of them if they can spend some more money. You see what I'm saying? You guys should not, matter of fact, you guys shouldn't be using your debit card at all. You should literally only be using your credit cards to make payments and then racking up on these fucking points. I have Chase Bank and I closed my Chase Freedom card but kept my Southwest card. Well, closing cards with the bank we have relationships with, will it be held against us now? No, because I closed my very first Capital One credit card. I had closed it out after I paid it off because that's what I was taught to do, right? Pay that shit off and close it. I really wish I hadn't, but yeah. But I still have my Capital One account, and then I ended up getting another credit card with them later on down the line. I'm trying to get a Chase Sapphire someday, LOL, but I'm scared I won't get approved since I closed one before. No, as long as you were in good standing. Okay, I see what this credit I need with this credit game. Just getting back after a bankruptcy. Now, should I use my Navy Fed card or the Secure Capital One? You should be using both of them. You should be using both of them. Alternate. See what you like. All right, so like some cards give you cash back on gas and restaurants, and then some give you cash back on online purchases or groceries, right? Look at the points, right? And then I always say assign your credit card a purpose. That's what I say. Won't closing starter cards affect my credit age and ultimately my credit score? Closing any accounts. When you close an account or pay off an account, so like loans, right? Every time you pay off a loan, your score goes down. Every time you close a credit card, your score goes down. But it's only temporary as long as you are doing what you are supposed to do consistently, right? So that's why I said open up a new account and then close that old one. Yes, your score will go down temporarily because this account is no longer reporting every month, but you got to think of your credit report like a house, right? Think of it like a house in floodwaters, right? A lot of times your house is up on stilts. The more poles you got up under your house, the more secure your house is. So even if you take one away, your house won't fall. Think about it like that. Thank you. Appreciating you. You're so welcome. You don't want to end up with 21 different goddamn credit cards. I want to close my Capital One so bad, but it's my longest card. Any more increase that? Let me know. Huh? Oh, I'm guessing they won't increase your limit. That's one of those things that's your prerogative, right? You got to decide on, is it worth keeping this card? I tell people all the time, once you stop seeing the value in a credit card, close it. If you have to force yourself to spend money with a credit card, close it. You should only have credit cards that are a part of your lifestyle. This is why I tell people all the time, stop asking me what credit cards would be best for you. You know what's best for you. You know your lifestyle. You know what you spend money on. And I just told this lady this the other day, right? And she bust out laughing because she was like, girl, you must know me. I said, don't you go to Home Depot and apply for no card if you're not at Home Depot every weekend buying plants or wood or hammers and nails and spray paint. I don't give a goddamn how much of a discount they giving you at Kohl's. Don't you apply for no fucking credit card with them if you don't shop there regularly. And I mean at least 2-3 times a month. Like, you should not get, I don't care how easy these credit cards are. If you don't have an assigned purpose for these cards, if you won't be using these cards often, don't get them. It's a waste. It's not providing as much of a value as it could be to your credit profile. Sorry, I'm going through and checking to make sure everybody getting their questions answered. Yeah, I'm closing it after I get my car in May. Yep. Once you stop finding value in it, cut it out. Cut it. And I would rather you close the account now than for it to happen to you unexpectedly for like inactivity or whatever the case may be later on down the line. Because a lot of people, out of sight, out of mind. Some of these credit cards, you forget that you even have them. So you stop using them, and then the company be like, "Oh, you're not using it. Close it." Are there secure cards that offer rewards? I'm not sure. That's a good question. Probably. Start with your home bank. Start with credit unions. They typically have some of the best perks sometimes. So start looking at credit unions around your way. Look at your bank and then kind of spread out. Somebody was telling me how they debit card be giving them cash back. And I was like, what? I have a Capital One Walmart Care card. I think you're saying you have a Capital One Walmart card. If you shop at Walmart a lot, or if this is a store card that you can use anywhere, perfect. I learned that from you. Use this card instead of cash. I put, yep. I'm only using this for Netflix. Listen, did you see they increased in the price of Amazon Prime? Girl, if you're not about to increase, my package is getting here in 2 days, then I don't know. This might be one of them things. I love my mama, but I might be using her little Amazon Prime because, child, I love Navy Federal Credit Union. I hate talking about Navy Federal on these lives, though, because then y'all will go get an account and be like, well, Marquia said, because I ain't tell you shit. I did not tell y'all nothing. If you're not military affiliated, don't say Marquia said nothing. Y'all not getting my shit shut down. Shit, I'm on my husband's shit. You're not getting our shit shut down. Because y'all will sell y'all kids for a Navy Federal referral code. When the gag is, most credit unions provide perks like Navy Federal. Y'all just ain't never go ask them questions. Not if you got EBT, Prime 599. What? Shut the front door. I gotta find somebody with food stamps. I gotta find somebody with food stamps because listen, Amazon Prime is wilding because my packages have not been 2-day for a very long time. And I let that shit slide when I lived in Germany because, all right, but I'm back in America now, motherfucker. Why is my packages not 2 days? Like, what's going on? But you raising your prices, you wilding. Does utilizing consolidation options for student loans cause issues? What kind of issues? So what's going to happen when you consolidate your student loans, what happens is they end up closing all the other loans. So what's going to happen is your score is going to drop because remember, when these accounts are no longer reporting every month, it's like, oh shit, it's like when you get your leg amputated and you forget for a second, right? And so you go to stand on it and it ain't there. So like, whoa, it's gotta orient itself a little bit. And then, as long as you're paying everything on time and your utilization is low and you got a good amount of accounts, your score will go right back up. Do you know how much you need to open a Navy Federal account? I think I needed like $5. Or that might have been for a Navy. Yeah. Well, I know that might be for a checking. Yeah. I think it was like $5 and I got to keep that $5 in that account or something like that. I have a Navy Federal account and I can't get a card. You'll have to talk to a branch about that. When you was in New Jersey, it was damn near next day. In Georgia, it's like eBay, 4 or 5 days. Amazon, but listen, when I used to live in Baltimore, bro, they got 2-hour shipping. Literally 2-hour shipping. 2-hour shipping, bro. But I can't get that shit here. Half my packages don't even get here when they supposed to. They be like, damn, we lost it.
Markia, here is your reminder. Play Beanboozled.
Alexa, remind me again in 30 minutes. They outside running around.
I'll remind you again in 30 minutes.
I complain to Amazon each time my package is late and they offer me a credit. Yeah, I just started doing that. Do you have to have a certain amount direct deposited every month? Not just to open an account. Now, when I had my car loan through them, yeah, I think they required me to have like $200 going into that account every month. But they tell you the stipulations and stuff like that when you start applying for loans and credit cards and stuff like that. But um that was a long time ago when I first opened up my Navy Federal account, though. I don't think it's like that no more because Chavez got an account and he don't even really use it like that. I'll be having to force him to use it. Because Lord knows we keeping this relationship open. Don't you fuck that up. Ooh. Yup. After you done come after you stop shipment. Listen. I ordered a belt. I ordered a belt 3 weeks ago. Everything else that I ordered with the belt came, but not the fucking belt itself. Then I go check and they're like, oh, my bad. Yeah, it never got there. We'll send you a new one. 60 fucking days later, I was hot. Okay, thanks. We'll talk soon. Okie dokie. That shit was wild. And they stay doing me like that. And it's like, I get mad and be like, I'm never buying nothing else off of here. Just 5 minutes later, be right on Amazon. I need to be one of them. You know what? I'm about to start being an Amazon affiliate link person. Cause everything I got, I be getting off Amazon, and I be telling people about, and I could be getting paid for that shit. I just found out about that. I watched a YouTube video about this girl. She do that. She make all her money off of recommending shit off Amazon to people, and they buy it using her links, and she make enough to live in fucking LA, and bitch, that's expensive to live there. What other questions you guys got for me? Because listen, once the questions stop, I get off live. My kids sound like they're having so much fun outside, and I want to go. But I don't like outside, and I don't feel good. No more questions, y'all? None. Going once, going twice? Checking all three? Nope. All right, y'all. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support. As always, it is very, very appreciated. If you got to the live late and you missed a lot of the information and you want to go back and watch it, you can always go to my YouTube channel, WWTMPD. What would the money plug do? And you can watch the replay there. Literally, as soon as I log off, you guys will be able to see it. The name of the Facebook group is called Plugged In the Credit Clubhouse. So if you search the money plug, you'll see my face with my locks, right? With like a little pink background, like pink peachy. If you click on groups, you'll be able to see the groups that I own, and Plugged In the Credit Clubhouse is right there. As well as if you just like my little page on Facebook, you'll be seeing my lives and stuff there as well. Again, thank you guys so much for the support. If you guys have any other questions, my email address is in my bio on TikTok. And if you guys are on my other social media platforms, there's nothing for you to DM me. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Live every day like it's your last, but pay your bills and wear condoms just in case it's not. And I will see all of you tomorrow for our 8 o'clock live.